Hello, 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 beautiful souls. Welcome in, welcome back, or welcome. Source codes, nature codes. I've got a squirrel back here eating some peanuts, so welcome. Wow. How do you feel? Something's going on in the solar plexus area. I just did a global meditation. I highly recommend it. Again, I always try to remember to post the videos on my Facebook page. Or if you're getting this on YouTube, you can go to GFL Station. It is one of the channeled stations that was dropped into my awareness probably 2 or 3 years ago. It's one of the very first ones that I started listening to, and that was through resonance. And some of their stuff on their channel has shifted, but once a week now, for the past 4 weeks, I think, we have done a global meditation, and it's to install in self and in the planet, in the planetary grid codexes. So if you're hearing key codes, codexes, ascension seals, there's a reason for that, and you resonate, and I'm getting full body goosebumps as confirmation. So this morning I woke up, like I said, my sleep is always all over the place because my soul's doing all things that I don't know what she's doing, off doing her thing, and just feeling really different this morning. So I don't know if more of my higher self has dropped into the physical body and it's just kind of adjusting because things just feel a little different this morning. It's really hard to put human words into it, and it's like something feels off, but it doesn't feel off. It's just, I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. If I do and I feel called to, I'll come back. All right, so again, I highly recommend doing these group and global meditations if you feel called to. Don't do it for any other reason except for soul resonance. And if you feel a calling, a knowing, like you're getting like information that you feel called to do these, don't participate in them for any other ways. Okay. All right. Yeah, what are we going to talk about in this video? Okay, I think what Source wants to come through with this particular video is again, it's coming through is speaking your truth and your authenticity. Okay, thank you. So I did get a message. So those that receive that send me private messages, thank you. I always appreciate the feedback on that. So always interact with the videos themselves, because that gives people permission in any way you feel called to. That gives other people permission to also do that in their truth and their authenticity. And it's just sharing that raw, messy part of us, that authentic part of us that has been so programmed and conditioned to think that's a bad thing. That's what we want. We want this authenticity. You know, the reason you resonate with people like this, like me and other beautiful souls, is because we're unfiltered, we're messy, it's raw, it's just our truth, our authenticity in the now present moment, and that changes and shifts in every now present moment. And I think what Source is wanting me to talk about today is don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to reach out or comment. And yeah, the person might respond, they might not, but it's doesn't matter. You don't need to have that response. You don't need that validation. You put forth that frequency and that energy, which is important. So, and those words might be beneficial for other people. It's just like when you meet people out in public and you're feeling called to speak up or to say something or to interact or to enter, like, I don't know, something is said in a conversation and you hear that between other people, but then you're like, your soul's like, all right, step in and say this. And those moments are so important because you don't know how that's going to affect the other person, in the sense is you're probably planting seeds, of course, sharing your frequency and energy and receiving activations, and those will unfold in perfect timing. And we talked about that in a video yesterday, where things will happen. The seeds are planted, the activations are planted, the codes are received, the activations are received, the codexes are received, and they will unfold and awaken and activate in unfoldment in perfect divine. I'm forgetting it right now. I'm gonna go back to my journal. It's just like I said, when I channel stuff, it's like in that perfect divine radiant timing. Let me get that again. Perfect radiant divine timing. All right, and it might be a year later. You've had this conversation with people. You may give them a business card and you'd be like, All right. And then the universe will align things if you're meant to be in, if you're meant to, how's the word I want to say? If you give an exchange of information, it might just leave it at that. And most of the time it's left like that for me. I know I don't worry about if people reach out or not. I've listened to my soul and put the information out there. And again, most of it's channeled information. I don't remember the conversations, but other people remember the conversations because they're the ones that meant, and it's the same thing for me. If someone's saying something to me and I'm meant to resonate with that, and it'll stick with me. All right, if that makes sense. And so you never really know that if you don't speak up, you don't share your magic, you don't share your voice, your authenticity, your voice, you are withholding something from somebody that's needing your quantum medicine magic. And it's like creating content, whether it's through just videos like this or your art, or speaking up, via, you know what I'm saying. My human words don't want to work right now. Like, there's just so much going on right now in the field. But I hope you feel this through resonance. But basically, Source is continuing to say over and over and over, you need to create. You need to hit record. You need to share. This is the best tool we have right now, beautiful souls, to get into contact with each other, especially during this trickling, soft unfoldment of disclosure. Discernment is going to be so much more important. And again, I highly recommend, don't get caught up. Bird confirmation, I think that was a cardinal. Don't get caught up in the fear narrative. Stay away from the fear porn, the doom and gloom, especially when it comes to disclosure. Use your discernment. Very, very important. And no, there it is. There's my cardinal. That's a male red cardinal. That's a confirmation. So using your discernment, getting in touch with self and feeling into things instead of trying to figuring things out and going down these not so healthy or beneficial rabbit holes of conspiracies and stuff. Yes, there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening, and it will be coming out more and more and more. And again, fear, you got to leave that, you got to let that go, you got to surrender that and just trust. Because when you get wrapped up in fear, thought creates. So are we going to create from more fear that what has been happening, or are we going to create from love and unity? What do you choose? I know what I choose. I don't choose to create from the bullshit, the nonsense, the programming, the conditioning, anymore. I choose to create from a place of unconditional love, of unity, of a planet where everyone is provided for. Freedom is all over the entire planet. We have a healthy, unified, collective consciousness, working and co-creating and playing together. That's what I'm creating. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm working on. And I do that by doing the sacred work. Thank you. So we tie this into the sacred work. You're like, what's my sacred work? I feel this deep calling, especially if you're just waking up and you're really excited. It's like that new child, like just figured something out and really wants to learn and to grow, which is amazing. But again, be very mindful of your discernment, where you're paying your attention to. What are you putting your attention, your energy, your frequency, your currency? That's the most valuable thing you have, is your attention, your frequency, your energy, and your currency. So where are you putting that? Are you putting that into self-care, maybe energy work, healing, maybe just meditation, maybe slowing down, maybe eating better? Where are you putting your attention to? Super conscious podcasts, maybe just listening to these reels, taking a pause and listening to this information, because it's at a soul resonance. The ego mind doesn't really get to know what's going on, and it'll fight for a bit, but it'll become very simple, this sacred simplicity. All right, it'll become this simple sacred simplicity. All right, so create. I'm just going to keep saying that. Keep reaching out to fellow people that you feel like you're in resonance with, and again, you might get a response, you might not. That's fine. It's all perfect. Share on the videos if you feel called to. And again, we always try to keep the information without fear, without negativity. And if people post that, I don't respond to that, and neither should you. You shouldn't respond or get caught up in these death spirals, is what I call them, these fear spirals. So yeah, I mean, because there are going to be haters, there are going to be trolls, there are going to be other beings out there that, you know, feel that's what they need to do. But again, don't buy into the bullshit and the nonsense, especially when it comes to comments. As I always recommend commenting from a place of love and unity and just sharing your experience. You know, this is what I've been doing by hitting record, 1022 on the timer. So we're going back to self. And like you said, what is my purpose? Your purpose is to maybe do more meditations, to take more stillness, to, when you get it to a point to receive information, you basically are in a very open, receptive, meditative state through your entire day. And that's how I mean, I get a lot of downloads when I'm doing dishes or driving the car or taking a walk or just sitting out here with nature. Very rarely do I get information in meditation. I meditate because I was called to meditate. I do meditations when I'm called to, but now at the beginning of my awakening journey, I went deep because it was very helpful for me with what I was going through. And it was a lot of stillness, processing. I did receive a lot of activations, upgrades, a lot of healing in that. But it's different for everybody. I didn't do it to do those things. That's what just happened as a result of it. You know, it was that, it's like eating healthy or exercising. It's just the byproduct of it, which is a good thing, typically, if you're not doing it for the wrong reasons. So sacred simplicity. What is my sacred purpose right now? For a lot of you, your sacred purpose, until you get your further notice, your papers from source for that next thing, you can feel that there's the next thing. Your next thing is to be still, get quiet, go within, seek the answers within. And when you do that, you will start finding videos like this will roll up into your feed. Podcasts will roll up into your feed that will feel in resonance. You'll know within the first few minutes if it's for you or not. And what I do is if it seems like it's interesting and I really don't have the moment now to listen to it, I will store it in a folder. I have different folders, light language folders, awakening ascension information, tarot readings. I have their own specific folders, and it just helps me track that if I'm like, okay, I can't watch this now, but it feels like it might be in resonance, so I will store it away for later. So I highly recommend that as well. And just when you have the space to pause and to listen into that, okay? And just settle into this sacred simplicity of you, and that know that you doing the work for you, you saying yes when you want to say yes and saying no when you want to say no, when you quit chasing and when you quit resisting, and you start healing and you start clearing things up, watch the reality shift, right? Watch the reality shift. They're doing a fence over here as well, so that might be kind of loud. But I just roll with what's in here. I don't get stressed out about that. That's part of keeping it real, raw, unfiltered, and messy. I don't care. I'm here to share a message, okay? So your sacred purpose right now for the collective consciousness is you. Because when you focus on you and you elevate and activate and create more awareness, when you remember your soul's essence and your soul's truth and your soul's authenticity, you start vibrating and radiating at this higher frequency. That is information that goes out into the quantum field, and other souls can feel you. They can feel your frequency, your energy, your flavor, your color, your essence. They might not know your physical form, but they feel you energetically. All right, and that's the point, because that's how we shift. And that's how we awaken each other. 1, yes, in person, 2, videos, and 3, through the field of consciousness. So the more of us that are been doing the work and doing the healing and doing the thing, listening to our soul, letting our soul lead and guide us each 1414 in each every now present moment as much as possible, becoming more present in every now present moment. Hawks just flew over. Thank you. Birds are very significant. Archangel Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel. All right, just did the global meditation, which we call the 4 corners in. Okay. All right. So I think we'll leave it there, and maybe we'll go into a little more depth. Again, I don't know half the time what's coming out of my words. What's that one saying? It's like, do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, or do you feel the words that are coming out of my mouth? So it's, again, you hear the words and the frequency and energy, and it bypasses the mind and ego, That's why light language is so beneficial, and that's why frequency, working with frequency, sound waves and things like that are very beneficial, because these things bypass the ego and mind and they speak directly to your soul. And it'll start unlocking those codes, that information that you coded yourself with before you incarnated in this lifetime. So you're here to remember, and I'm here to remind you of your power to stand in your truth and your authenticity, and to speak it, to feel it, and to know it in every moment, even when it's uncomfortable, or even when you're triggered, because the trigger is the portal. Again, the triggers are the portals for you to go deeper within to address the root cause. Okay, and this can be across many different situations. All right, we're coming from the health and wellness business. A lot of times it's like, what's the root cause? What's the why? What's the root cause? All right. So, all right, we'll leave it there. From my heart to yours, I'll see you soon. Bye.